Hi, Ryan. This is part 2 of the video to help review for this Unit 3 test, all about triangles. This question, which was number 9, says list the sides in order from shortest to longest. And it's really important that we know this diagram is not to scale. So we're not looking at our eyes, we're not trusting our eyesight to see which one is shortest. We're looking at the information given in the triangle. But the funny thing is, nothing about side lengths have been given, only information about angles. So here's the thing you want to know. The biggest angle in a triangle is always opposite the longest side. The smallest angle in a triangle, in this case angle Z, is always opposite the shortest side. So let's take a look at the angles. We have the smallest, which is angle Z, because it's 27 degrees. The medium angle is angle Y at 64 degrees, and the biggest angle is angle X at 89 degrees. Remembering the three angles always add together to equal 180. Every once in a while, one of these angles won't be there, and you'll have to figure that out. So look at, if the smallest angle is angle Z, then the shortest side has to be XY. That's the shortest side. The medium side length is going to be the side opposite angle Y. And the longest side is the side opposite angle X. So the shortest side again is side XY. You should have a line segment over there. The medium side is XZ, and the longest side is ZY. So that's a big idea that you definitely want to know. Now, here is a great question that you've written. You said, how do I know which ones to add up? And the prompt is, which three lengths could be the lengths of the sides of a triangle? Explain how you know. So here's the theorem that we're going to be using. It's called the triangle inequality theorem, and it basically says, in order for three lengths to actually form a triangle that is like a closed polygon figure, the sum of any two sides of a triangle has to be greater than the third side. So let's look at choice A for a second, okay? And let's see if I pick these two numbers, 12 plus 5, is that greater than the third side? And I always write out my inequalities. So 12 plus 5, is that greater than 17? And then I write, is 5 plus 17 greater than 12? And finally, is 12 plus 17 greater than 5? Now, these bottom two are true, but that top statement is not true. 12 plus 5 actually equals 17. Therefore, if you had three sticks that look like this, it would not be a triangle. It would be a long, flat stick at 17 centimeters. And right above there would be a 12 centimeter and a 5 centimeter sticks. And you'd have no inside for this triangle. So it's definitely not A. You have correctly found the answer to be B, and here's why. When I pick the first two and I add them together, I see that that is definitely greater than 24. How about 10 plus 24? That's greater than 15. 15 plus 24 is greater than 10. So B is the correct answer. Therefore, there has to be something about C, problem C, that doesn't work. So let's look over these inequalities that I wrote from using these three side lengths. Can you find the one that is a false statement? It's that middle statement. 9 plus 11 is 20, which is not greater than 22. So these would not form a triangle. Finally, in part D, which statement or statements here are false? The bottom one. 7 plus 6 is 13, which is not greater than 21. So that's how we know what to do. We're writing three statements. The sum of any two numbers given as lengths has to be greater than the third. All right, now what we're going to use in this particular problem is, at first when you look at it, you think, oh, this is side, angle, side, right? Because I see a side, I see an included angle and a side, I see side, I see an angle and a side. But what you'll notice is the middle angles that are included are not congruent. And so there is a theorem that's called the Hinge Theorem that says if two sides of one triangle, so the side with one hatch and the side with two hatch marks, are congruent to two sides of another triangle, one hatch and double hatches, the angle between the congruent sides that is greater, so this angle here, 74, is greater than 31, then the angle that is greater is opposite the greater side. So if you just picture like a hinge of a door, the wider the door swings open, the bigger the walkway is, right? The bigger the entrance to get into the door. If the door is really tightly shut, you have to almost turn sideways to get through it. So that kind of would help you, I hope, picture this hinge theorem. Because this angle is so wide, this 2x plus 5 has to be greater than this side of 11. So then we just solve this by using your algebra skills, subtracting 5 from both sides, dividing both sides by 2, and I get that x has to be greater than 3. So there's my inequality. So what are some of the possible values of x then? I don't know, pick a number bigger than 3, 4. All right, if x is 4, then 2 times 4 is 8, 8 plus 5 is 13. If x is 5, and by the way, 13 is greater than 11, so that makes sense. If x is 5, 2 times 5 is 10 plus 5 is 15, and that's greater than 11. That makes sense. But what if x were 3 or some number less than 3? All right, if x is 3, all of a sudden fh or hf is 2 times 3 plus 5. That's 11, but that's 11, and so that doesn't make sense. X would not be 3. X can be anything greater than 3. So when it says write an inequality, that's what we mean. We're saying something with an inequality symbol. All right, next example. What is the range of possible values for x? Same thing. It's a type of hinge theorem. Do you see it? You've got your single hatch mark and your double. You've got your single and your double. We don't know anything about the angles, but here's what we do know. We know about the side opposite the angles are not equal. Therefore, these triangles are not congruent. Because if side RT were congruent to side BD, these triangles would be congruent by side, 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 but they're not. So we're going to use kind of like the backwards or the converse of the hinge theorem. Because 18 is greater than 14, this angle that's opposite 18 has to be greater than this angle that's opposite 14. And using your algebra skills, you're just going to subtract 5x from both sides. And to get x by itself, we're going to divide by 4. And we get x is greater than 4. So that is the inequality. That is the range of possible values for x. So give me a number bigger than 4. Okay, 5. If x were 5, the measure of this angle would be 45. The measure of this angle, 5 times 5 plus 16, would be 41. 45 is bigger than 41. That makes sense because 18 is bigger than 14. Same thing, if x is 6, this is now 54, this is now 46, and that is just helping me understand that my answer is correct. All right, that's where I'm going to stop this video, and then we'll make one more.